As a result of his loss, Okudele's wealth began to dwindle. As quickly as it had come, the respect he had commanded turned to pity. When Okudele's second wife Obiageli saw the impact of the mishaps in Okudele's wealth, she lost interest in him and took her daughter Adego and went to live with her parents. Obiageli was an Oriaku, which means consumer of wealth, and since the Opataku, the cultivator of wealth, was no longer cultivating, she left him. Okudele was left alone, a shadow of the man he used to be. Once upon a time in Iyora village lived a poor farmer named Okudele. Okudele was a hard-working man. Season after season, he toiled from dawn until dusk, cultivating the land and caring for his crops. In spite of his relentless efforts, the yield from his farm was little. The land of Iyora was known to be fertile, but it seemed to resist Okudele's efforts, as he barely managed to grow enough to feed himself. His neighbors wondered how he seemed to work harder than anyone else, yet he had so little to show for it. Some thought maybe he lacked the right knowledge, while others simply believed he was unlucky. Nonetheless, Okudele kept working hard. He woke up every morning with renewed strength, hoping that the season would be different from the previous one. Okudele toiled the land of Iyora until he reached a marriageable age. His parents and fellow villagers began to press him to find a wife. They believed that marriage would bring stability and maybe luck to his life. His parents particularly longed to see him settled down with a partner who could share in his burdens and joys. His mother told him it's time he think about his future. She said he needs someone by his side and a wife could bring so much to his life. Okudele, however, was skeptical. His farm's output was barely enough to sustain him, and he couldn't imagine bringing someone else into his life only to suffer her. He told the concerned villagers that he understood their concern, but they must see his situation as it is. He told them he could hardly feed himself properly and asked how he could bring someone's daughter into his home and watch her starve alongside him. Okudele's neighbors had always seen his hardworking nature and assumed that marriage was the next step for him, but they hadn't fully understood his level of lack. His father told him that sometimes people need more than just hard work, and maybe it was time for him to seek new knowledge, try different methods, and possibly a partner could bring new ideas and strength to his life. Okudele thanked his parents and neighbors for their concern and continued with his work. As he worked, he pondered on the counsel of his parents and the concerned villagers. One day, Okudele visited a neighboring village for a local festival. There he met Mugo, a beautiful maiden whose beauty caught his eyes. Okudele approached Mugo and they both chatted for a long while and connected immediately. Mugo, just like Okudele, was also from a humble background, working tirelessly to support her family. Okudele proposed to Mugo and she accepted, and they got married the next 4 market days. Okudele returned to his village with his wife Mugo, and there they began their life together. The early years of their marriage were challenging. They toiled from morning till night, planting yams and vegetables. They worked hard, but often had little to eat and sometimes went to bed hungry. Mugo's strength matched Okudele's. She supported her husband in every way possible and never complained. Their love for each other was their greatest strength. One fateful year, after several seasons of disappointment, their luck began to shine. The rains came at the right time, and the harvest was great. Their crops grew larger and healthier than ever before. They sold a significant portion of their produce at the market, earned enough to buy more land, a she and he goat, and also mended their home. Their luck continued to shine as time passed. Soon they had herd of goats and cows. Their barns overflowed with yams, and their success shocked the villagers. Nwugo soon gave birth to a son, whom they named Obiajolum. The birth of their son Obiajolum brought great joy and hope to their lives. Obiajolum grew up to be as hardworking as his parents. Okwudili and his wife Nwugo were able to provide their son Obiajolum with a better life, and as he grew older, he showed great promise, helping his parents manage their expanding farm. Okwudili's prosperity continued to grow. He acquired more lands, built larger barns, and his herd became the largest in the village. His success and hard work earned him the people's respect and a chieftaincy title. The never-do-well Okwudili, whom the gods had favored, began to dine with the king. Okwudili was now a man of great respect and influence. As years passed, Okwudili's wealth and status began to change him. The humility and gratitude he was known for were slowly replaced by arrogance and pride. He believed his success was solely the result of his own efforts and began to see himself as superior to others. Irrespective of Nwugo's continuous support and love, Okwudili felt she was no longer enough for him. He desired more and decided to take a second wife. Nwugo was heartbroken. She felt betrayed and pleaded with Okwudili to reconsider, but his mind was made up. Okwudili married Obiageli. Obiageli was younger and as beautiful as Nwugo, and soon she bore him a daughter, Adego. Okwudili struggled to balance the love he had for his both families, and over time his affection for Obiageli and Adego overshadowed his love for his first wife Nwugo and their son Obiajolum. He began to neglect them, leaving them to fend for themselves. Nwugo and Obiajolum struggled to survive without Okwudili's support. Nwugo encouraged her son Obiajolum, and they worked harder than ever before in the farmland Okwudili had given to them to farm on. That season, they made bountiful harvests and sold most of their produce in the markets. Okwudili, who saw how hard they were working, was furious seeing them live and survive without him. And so he seized the land he had given to them and sent them out of his house. Obiajolum cried at his feet, but no matter how hard he wailed, it never touched his hardened heart. Okwudili had wanted his wife Nwugo and Obiajolum to be at his mercy, but instead they doubled their hard work, and that threatened his ego. Nwugo and her son left the house, and in a bid to make ends meet and build a life for themselves, they resorted to working in people's farm, and with the money they had saved from the hard labor, they took a piece of land on lease for 3 years. In the land, Nwugo and her son Obiajolum planted a variety of crops, including yam, corn, and vegetables. Their first harvest was not much, but it was enough to sustain them and provide seeds for the next planting season. Nwugo wisely saved and reinvested their earnings. In the next 1 year, their yields improved significantly, and they saved enough money and purchased the land, and also bought additional land and diversified their farming operations. She bought livestock, including cows, goats, and chickens, which provided a steady source of income through milk, meat, and eggs. She also employed few villagers, whom she paid fair wages to work in her farm. Nwugo and Obiajolum built a comfortable home and lived a life of abundance and generosity. Years passed, and one day, a heavy rain fell in Iyora village, and Okwudili's farm was seriously affected. His crops were carried away by erosion, and his animals soon became sick and all died. As a result of his loss, Okwudili's wealth began to dwindle. As quickly as it had come, the respect he had commanded turned to pity. When Okwudili's second wife Obiageli saw the impact of the mishaps in Okwudili's wealth, she lost interest in him and took her daughter Adego and went to live with her parents. Obiageli was an Oriaku, which means consumer of wealth, and since the Okpataku, the cultivator of wealth, was no longer cultivating, she left him. Okwudili was left alone, a shadow of the man he used to be. And then he realized the value of the love and support Nwugo had given him. One quiet night, Okwudili reflected on his actions and the choices that led to his downfall. He sought Nwugo and their son Obiajolum and humbly begged for their forgiveness. and acknowledged he had caused them so much pain. Though their hearts were shattered into 1,000 pieces by his actions, they forgave him. They understood that holding on to anger would bring more suffering to their hearts. Obiajulum, who had grown up to be a wise and successful man with bands of yam, palm and plantain plantations to his name, married a kind woman and continued to work the land, ensuring that his family's legacy of hard work lives on. Obiajulum implied the lessons he had learned from his parents' experience in his marriage with his wife, and they lived out their days in peace and harmony. Okwudili was grateful for the second chance that was given to him, and he continued to live his life working hard. Hello favorite one, thanks for listening to my stories. Your support means the world to me, and I couldn't do this without you. Your likes, comments and shares keep me motivated to create more stories. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you never miss out on any of my new stories. Thanks again and see you in the next story.